Here's the lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers. Paul Molitor leads off at third base. Robin Yount batting second at shortstop. Cecil Cooper in the third slot at first base. Ted Simmons behind the plate in the cleanup spot. Ben Ogilvie in left field. Gorman Thomas in center field. The designated hitter, Don Money. The right fielder is Charlie Moore. And batting ninth is Jim Gentner at second base.
The Cardinals need 2 ball games to become World Championships, so they're fighting from behind. And John Stupper, a youngster, will have this defense behind him. Lonnie Smith, Willie McGee, George Hendrick from left to right. Ken Oberkfell, Ozzie Smith, Tommy Herr, Keith Hernandez, Darrell Porter, the catcher. And a young man against the veteran, Joe.
John Stupper. He's the 14th rookie pitcher to ever start 2 World Series games. The Cardinal Dick Hughes was the last to do it in 1967. Against Molitor, 8 for 23. Molitor, a good first ball fastball hitter. Here we go. High, ball 1. Jim Evans of the American League is the umpire behind the plate. One ball and 1 strike to count. Molitor, no home runs, 2 runs batted in, hitting .348 in this series. Little blooper, center field, and Ozzie Smith takes it.
Cardinal pitching coach Hub Kittle and Whitey Herzog didn't feel that Stupper threw the ball that well when he matched up with Sutton in game 2. Darrell Porter, his catcher, Joe, said he won't be nervous, but he'll be so keyed up. We've got to keep him from overthrowing tonight like he did in game 2.
Robin Yount steps in there, 11 for 21. It is low, ball 1. Yount, 1 home run, 6 runs batted in, a .524 batting average. All kinds of records in this series so far. There's the strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Has 5 consecutive hits. He's got 4 hits twice. He's 1 shy of the World Series record of 6 consecutive hits established by Goose Goslin. Thurman Munson did it in '76. Goslin did it in '24. 2 balls and a strike to count. Out of play, 2-2. Ball game just underway.
They have been trying to pitch Robin Yount hard stuff away, but they keep getting the ball in on him, whether it's a hard slider or a fastball up and in. Oberkfell very quietly having a nice World Series.
Count remains at 2-2.
There have been so many varying weather reports over the last 4 or 5 hours. It is incredible. We've heard rain and possible sleet, tornado warnings. In fact, the blimp had to leave. It couldn't stay up above the stadium. It was just too gusty.
Well, this game will go on indefinitely. They'll complete 9 innings with the rain interrupt. Up the middle, right back to John Stupper. The streak is broken, and both batters, Molitor and Yount, have hit it on the handle. Here is Cecil Cooper. Cooper, 1 home run, 5 runs batted in. He's 7 for 21, a .333 average. The commissioner, of course, in complete command now as far as this game when it comes to weather. 1 strike on Cooper.
And his fastball, at least to the first 3 hitters, looks very crisp. Better than it did in game 2. Hub Kittle would like to see him keep the ball down. Slider is more effective, and his ball has a little movement away from the left-hander, although a 4-seamer that he throws can get up and in to a left-handed hitter.
With that shot you see from center field, the umpire generally gets the top of the strike zone in eyesight. So if he raises his eyes, he calls it a ball automatically. Jim Evans may be calling a few low strikes. Watch his line of sight where it is as far as the strike zone. It's below the letters, so it could be a factor. Whitey Herzog and Hub Kittle of the Cardinals, Harvey Keene of Milwaukee, Cooper to left field, Lonnie Smith near the line, makes the play. It's 3 up, 3 down. Milwaukee does not score top of the first. We go to the bottom.
Ford Escort started out, it had a lot of things going for it. Nimble front-wheel drive, four-wheel independent suspension, and great mileage. No wonder Escort sales have jumped.
Arcade players, get ready. The new Atari 5200 Super System is here. With a controller so advanced it plays arcade. Graphics so real it looks arcade. With arcade hits you can't play on any other system. No other home video system can touch it. The new Atari 5200 Super System. It's as good as you are, maybe even better. Next time.
Don Sutton tunes up. This is the batting order he'll be facing in Game 6. Lonnie Smith in left field. Third baseman Ken Oberkfell, the leading hitter for the Cardinals. Keith Hernandez broke out of his slump in Game 5. Cleanup George Hendrick in right field. The catcher Darrell Porter. Hitting 6th, the designated hitter Dane Orge. In center field, the exciting youngster Willie McGee. Second baseman Tom Herr at second. And the dazzling shortstop Ozzie Smith at shortstop.
In Game 5, the Cardinals hit the ball very hard, but this defense shut off a lot of runs. Ogilvie in left, Thomas in center, Moore in right. Molitor, Yount, Gantner, and Cooper around the infield. Ted Simmons, the catcher, and the money pitcher, Don Sutton.
Here is Lonnie Smith. Smith leading it off is 5 for 20. That's a .250 average. And it's ball one. Don Sutton.
Man probably most responsible on the starting staff for getting the Brewers this far. He picked them up when they were down a couple of times.
It's high, ball two. The average is only 2.3 walks per 9 innings, 6.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. Game 2, he pitched 6 in the third innings. He walked struck out 3, walked 1. 4 earned runs, no decision. High, 3-0. Bottom of the first, no score. Three and one to count. Lonnie Smith, leadoff man, against Don Sutton. Came over from Houston August 30th for Frank DePino, Mike Madden, and Kevin Bass. Three balls and 2 strikes on Lonnie Smith. World Series record 2-2 for Don Sutton. 26 strikeouts, 8 walks, 4 games. Struck him out. Don Sutton went to 3-0 and came back and gets Lonnie Smith called out on strikes.
Looked like all fastballs that he used on Lonnie. He was 4-1 in September, and if not for a home run from Bonnes of Cleveland, Sutton would have been 5-0. It was an important last game of the regular season against Baltimore. There's his record here in Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Not pitched that well. In fact, he's lost his last 5 decisions here.
The last time he won was September 11th, 1976. Here is Oberkfell. 0-1. He falls behind Oberkfell.
You know, Joe, when California had beaten the Brewers 2 straight, they're on the brink of elimination. And Sutton pitched Game 3 and picked them up one more time.
1 ball and 1 strike as the fastball catches the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike as we look at the on-deck man, Keith Hernandez. High fly ball, short right center field. Charlie Moore says, I'll take it, and he does. 2 outs, and you talk about a guy doing a job without a whole lot of publicity. It's at Charlie Moore in right field.
He has saved a few runs. In fact, Game 5, Joe, I cannot remember a World Series game anywhere or any time where I've seen more good plays in every part of the field. Almost every Brewer in that ball game made a good play. 4 outstanding ones, except Ogilvie in left.
They cover the field with leather. Here is Keith Hernandez hitting 158, 3 for 19. 0-1. 2 men out, nobody on. Bottom of the first, no score. One ball and one strike. Sutton. So you take a look at the defense.
Play him straight away. But they give him a little room on the infield in the middle of the diamond. Bunch him in the outfield.
Cecil Cooper once again to Sutton. Good play. Cecil Cooper makes a fine play going to his right. Sutton covering. Hernandez is out. So it's 1-2-3 as we look at it from right field, and watch Cooper just go over there, handle it oh so easily. And with Sutton covering, it's 1-2-3. At the end of one full inning, it's Milwaukee nothing, St. Louis nothing.
Guys, we've got some good news.
And some bad news.
First, the good news. In shaving tests nationwide, Gillette's Good News disposable razor with micro-smooth twin blades gave men a closer, smoother, safer shave than Bic.
Now, the bad news. If you use Bic, you are not getting as close, as smooth, or as safe a shave as with
Gillette's Good News.
Sorry, Bic.
Gillette's Twin Blade Good News. It's bad news for Bic.
9. The battle between the chef and the baker has been going on for centuries, until the Sharp Carousel convection microwave oven brought them together. As a microwave, it's better for fish and casseroles. As a convection oven, it's better for cakes and pies. And the Sharp Carousel turns the food so you don't have to. The Sharp Carousel convection microwave oven. We replaced 500,000 transistors and diodes with one tiny chip, Sharp.
Why did you bring your car to Kmart K-Care?
The price is always good.
Because the shocks were rotten, we're bouncing up and down, up and down.
Quality and honesty.
Up and down, up and down. The shocks just bounced.
Smooth your ride now with Monroe-Matic shock absorbers at a net price of $9.88 each after you receive a $3 mail-in rebate.
Nice and smooth.
Let Kmart K-Care take care of you.
I feel about Kmart the way I do about the Green Bay Packers. That's the truth. What are you trying to do? Break my heart!
The custody battle that shocked America and became a bestseller. Little Gloria, happy at last. Sunday.
Ted Simmons leads it off, takes the first pitch outside, and it's ball one. Top of the second, no score. Two balls and no strikes. Simmons, 2 home runs. He has driven in 3 runs. He's 4 for 17. Outside, and it's 3-0. Stuper averages 3.6 walks per 9 innings. In game 2, 4 innings pitched, 4 runs, 6 hits, struck out 3, walked 3. No decision. There's the strike.
Joe, I wonder if after those home runs here by Simmons, they haven't started pitching him a little more carefully. He's got 4 base on balls. And I really think they're pitching to him as carefully as anybody else, as they know if he gets his bat hot against this fastball pitching league, he'll tear you apart.
He draws the base on balls, so Simmons is on.
It's his 5th walk in this series.
And that brings up Ben Ogilvy.
Right fielder Ben Ogilvy.
Take a look at the defense as Ogilvy comes up. Ogilvy 4 for 19. Hernandez has to hold him first, so he's got the gap between first and second. He shoot through. Foul ball out of play and a strike 1.
You might see during the course of the series today, and if it goes tomorrow, the field, the turf. You can see how light it is. It's a wore-out turf, and some of the writers and even we have difficulty at times picking up the ball. They're going to replace it. They already have started some patches, the real dark green, so you can see the comparison right there.
Curveball is strike 2. He took something off his curveball, an off-speed pitch. The players, I don't think, have too much trouble, but fans and certainly from the press box, and our cameramen are doing a great job picking that ball up. The background is not good for the technicians. 1 ball and 2 strikes. No score. Top of the second. Little off the handle, base hit into center field. Simmons rounds second. He holds on, and Ogilvie has himself the first base hit of the ball game.
And Joe, in game 2, that's the same kind of pitch that got Stuper in trouble in that ball game with a walk thrown in here and there. 1 ball, 2 strikes ahead of the hitter, and he threw what looked like a breaking ball or a cut fastball up and in. You can see he decoys up and in, hits it on the fist, but in the perfect spot.
Hit that right below the trademark, but he hit it up the middle. And here comes the rain. It's starting to come down. Little drizzle. They expected. The people are prepared, but the weatherman has given us all kinds of reports, as you heard Tony earlier. And Gorman Thomas steps in there. He bunts it foul for strike 1. At third base, Oberkfell not looking for the bunt, and had Thomas gotten that ball down, I'm sure the bases would have been loaded.
And you wonder too, Joe, you just gave somewhat of a weather report. We can see the umbrella up. You want to play, because they play by the same rules, which I think is unfair in a short series like this. For a suspended game, you might want to get a couple of runs early. The rain out, it's the same thing. 5 innings of the season. That's unfair in World Series.
I don't think they're going to call this, Tony. We may finish this thing right after.
What happens if the Brewers are ahead after 5 and if a deluge come down, they just can't play? It is unfair that it would be a complete ball game, an official game.
Well,
it could happen.
Center field. McGee is there. He'll make the play. I'll tell you what, it'll be another World Series record. Longest time between raindrops.
I'll tell you one thing, that in watching the radar report on the local news, it looked like one of those home video games. There was so much action as that front is moving in from the west. It's going to miss a great chance if it doesn't rain hard.
Here is Don Money, the designated hitter. Base runners at first and second, 1 man out. Money 3 for 10. He has driven in a run. Curveball misses, and it's ball 1. The commissioner, he'll be the man who'll have to make the call. Two balls and no strikes on Don Money. Stuper, you can hear the ball pop into Porter's glove, but his control off this inning. He had a 1-2-3 inning in the first. Walked Simmons, Ogilvie a single to center, and Thomas has just flied to center.
And 2 pitches that did not miss by much got him in trouble.
Foul ball. 2 balls and a strike. 1 man out. Simmons at second base. Ogilvie is at first.
Stuper is an engaging young man. He gave a press conference yesterday, and the reporters are enthralled with him.
Off the handle down the left field line, but foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count.
He wants to be a journalist, a sports reporter himself. Of course, the sports writers kiddingly questioned his intelligence in that regard. But he uses the language well. He has studied both the written form and those of us in the broadcast booth, and was very complimentary of you two fellas, Joe and Tony. He said he really has enjoyed you through the years as he's grown up watching baseball.
We appreciate that.
See, he started at Louisville where he was 7-1, and then 5 days after being called up, he got his start. He's pitched very well in August and September. Had one particular pressure game after a couple of losses in Dodger Stadium, beat Fernando Valenzuela.
In Los Angeles, beating 3-2. Money broke his bat. He has really sawing the bats off in the Milwaukee Brewers' hands so far, but the Brewers have a threat. 1 out, 2 on. Foul ball straight back. Don Money does better against right-hand pitching. Against left-handers, he had 269. Against right-handers, 308. Bouncing ball, Oberkfell at third, over to second, one out, over to first, a double play.
Two men on, nobody out. Oberkfell had a battle at dirt and the seam, and Tommy Hurt unloads.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and Don Sutton. And according to Don Sutton, 3 most pressure games. Look at that. 77 All-Star game is returned to Dodger Stadium, and the 13th start when he had no wins in 76. A World Series, not that much pressure. Here is George Hendrick. George 5 for 18. They've really been laying the ball on the outside part of the plate low. Right about there, and he has gotten 5 base hits, and 3 of them, I remember, right back up the middle when he had to. I think he's done a great piece of hitting in this series.
The Brewers know he's one of those who can hit the home run, the long ball in this club, one of just a couple. He and Hernandez, basically, but he has the most this year. So I'm sure that if he's going to get on, they're going to give him singles.
Two balls and no strikes. Right on the outside part of that plate. There's the difference between the good pitcher and a so-so pitcher. 2 balls and no strikes, and he lays it right there, boy. That's the Hall of Fame spot. You pitch there your entire career, and you're on the express right to Cooperstown. 2-2 the count. George Hendrick.
Sutton with a couple of different kinds of fastball. That looked more like a sinking type fastball. Been accused of doctoring a baseball. Has a good curve, slider, a couple of kinds of changeups. One looked like a screwball to left-handed hitters at times.
High, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out. Bottom of the second, 6th game of the World Series between 2 battling baseball teams. He struck him out. Don Sutton gets his 2nd strikeout.
Joe, I think if you were going to teach a young kid to watch pitchers, and there are a number of them, Tom Seaver, in fact, in our booth, would be one also. You teach them to follow the mechanics of this guy. He squares up, straight toward home plate, rotates the hips, and pivots on the rubber, and then opens it back up. I guess that's why he's so durable. He's lasted so long.
Here is Darrell Porter, 6 for 18. He's compiled quite a record, Don Sutton. Strike 1. Tony, we were talking about Larry Heisel the other day in Milwaukee, and I was lucky enough to run into him Sunday night in a restaurant. Inside 1-1, and I told him how disappointed he must be and how tough it must be. And he was with his young son, Larry Jr. And I tell you, that young man, and Larry said something during the playoffs. Don Sutton, a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Hot smash. Gantner has him played perfectly. Easy out. During the playoffs, Larry Heisel is riding back home with his young son, and the youngster says, "Daddy, I wish it was my shoulder that was hurt, not yours, so you could play."
When you look at the Heisel stats when they got him from Minnesota, in '78, Heisel had 34 home runs, 115 runs batted in, and then his shoulder problem starts. Several times he's had surgery. He's not played much baseball since '79. Throw him in the middle of that lineup as a DH. And those power stats, well, they're close to awesome now.
Ball 1. Milwaukee, 167 with the DH. St. Louis, 316.
St. Louis using a guy like Dane Orge, who'd never DH'd before his first time here in World Series.
Down the left field line, Ogilvy near the line, and
Here's Ben Ogilvie with the left field foul line umpire Davey Phillips over. Fair ball, and it's hit just inside the line.
The first time we've seen the wind have an effect on a ball, as it's blowing very sharply into the left field corner.
I think a lot of this has to do with a strange ballpark. He ran a long way for Orange. He was playing him to hit the left field, which Orange does a lot of. Never took his eye off the ball. The ball just went off the side of his glove. Again, and we've mentioned this before, not to make excuses for Ogilvie, he jammed the rib cage on his right side, and before the ball game he said, it still hurts me. It's getting better, but it still bothers me, and he cannot extend it.
So the Cardinals have Orange at second base. 2 outs. Here is Willie McGee. Robin Yount threw his legs into left field. Cardinals lead 1-0.
Yount's career, when he came up as an 18-year-old, he was making a lot of errors, making up to 35 to 40 errors, but this has not happened to him, I would guarantee you, the last couple of years. And not only the run home, 2 outs, but McGee is going to try and steal. You can bet on it with a left-handed hitter up.
So McGee is on at first base. Tommy Herr is the batter. Cardinals lead 1-0.
Matter of just lifting up too soon, wasn't it, Joe?
Yes, the tailgate didn't come down.
A defense that played so flawlessly in Game 5 in Milwaukee, and a couple of mistakes here to score a run early in St. Louis.
Ball 1, and Tommy Herr taking a good look. He's allowed to hit with 2 outs, of course, but he wants to know, is McGee running? And he's got just a little bit bigger lead than the first time. He's going to go. It's just a matter of time.
Dodgers for many years taught bulk moves, breaking the knee torn home, and then going to first. I'm sure Lee Wire, a National League umpire, will be watching something closely.
There he goes. Fouled out of play. Willie McGee in '82 was caught stealing 8 times in his first 16 attempts. And then he was 17 for 21. He was successful 17 for 21. Simply tells you he's learned a little bit about base running. Right now he's just a speedster. He's learning how to be a base stealer. 1-1 to count. 2 outs. 1-0. St. Louis leading. Bottom of the second. Willie McGee. He really has those eyes glued on the pitcher.
All Simmons wants to do is have him keep him close if you can, or throw over a couple times, and then forget him. If he's going to steal and get a good jump, you're not going to throw him out anyway. So Simmons' attention basically is on the hitter.
And that's going to work against him. Holding. Deep to right field, way back, it's fair, it is. Home run. No, off the wall, off the wall. Here comes Willie McGee. And he drops the ball. Simmons drops the ball, he's safe.
Something up and in to Tommy Herr. He hasn't shown much power. In fact, he's never hit a home run in the major leagues. Just by the .330 mark, Charlie Moore. Carroll almost fools him, but he makes a good play. McGee with that great speed coming around first base. Here he comes around third. Throw, Simmons lost it. It took a high bounce off the turf. And when he tried to leave too soon, I doubt from where that throw was that high, he would not have been able to get it down in time to tag him anyway.
I don't know, Tony. That ball was there plenty of time. There's no error on that play. And the Cardinals take a 2-0 lead. It's a 2-base hit for Tommy Herr. Ozzie Smith, the batter. 2 runs are in. That's an RBI. And the Cardinals lead 2-0.
Well, the Erratic nature of this series continues after a brilliant Game 5 defensively for the Brewers. A catchable ball. Ogilvy couldn't handle. Through Yount's legs. And Simmons, the ball bounced out.
The 1-1 pitch now. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Unearned runs because McGee was the third out. And Yount fielded it.
2 balls and 1 strike. 2 runs in. Robin Yount is short. Big hop. Long throw. In time. They get Tommy Hurd, Ozzie Smith. And we complete 2 innings of play. The score here, Cardinals 2, Milwaukee nothing. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Robert Urich is gaviling. He likes quiet evenings, but someone's always dropping by to spoil his fun. Catch the adventure they're all whispering about gaviling next Tuesday.
Introducing the totally new 1983 Toyota Tercel. Its front-wheel drive is only the tip of the iceberg. This Tercel is the lowest-priced Toyota you can buy. It has more room than any other subcompact and gives you more mileage than ever before. The new Toyota Tercel. It's a new standard in front-wheel drive, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Tercel!
To keep warm and keep energy costs down, heat just the area you're using with a True Value heater from True Value hardware stores. This economical unit is angled to direct heat into the room, and you'll feel warm fast with this quartz model because it heats the people and objects in its path. For drafty areas under windows, get this fan-forced baseboard heater. All these True Value heaters have automatic thermostats, and they shut off if tipped over. You'll find a True Value heater to meet your needs at participating True Value hardware stores.
Tony Earl, the choice is easy, the problems aren't.
You think you're tough enough and...
Moore on that ball hit off the wall. Really uncorks the throw here. All the way, 1 hop. And Simmons trying to make a quick tag. The ball is there in plenty of time. It just pops out of his glove. Runner is safe. McGee, and it's 2-0. And now for the play-by-play with Charlie Moore leading off. Here's Dick Enberg.
Thank you, Joe. Stuper delivering to Moore. He was hitting .350 in the series and showed you why he has become an outstanding right fielder. He's made a brilliant catch in Game 5, and that long throw was there in time. Took the high kick, and Simmons trying to get the tag on before he really had the ball. And 2 runs for the Cardinals. They lead it 2-0 here in the top of the 3rd.
We might have seen another difference coming from dirt and grass to artificial surface. On dirt and grass, that ball might have stayed down and given Simmons a better chance, better tagging position.
2-0. And a base hit up the alley, trying to cut it off McGee. And Moore will hold with a long single, the second hit for Milwaukee. Moore has had an excellent series. That's his 8th hit. Jim Gantner hitting 9th, the second baseman, batting .333, 6.418. John Stuper, the rookie. What a story he is. This right-hander was 6-14 in the minors last year, and here he is pitching in a critical 6th game of the World Series. Gantner checking with his third base coach, Harry Warner. Moore at first base. Foul ball. 2 strikes on Gantner.
Dick, probably the thing that Whitey Herzog worried most about when he took this ball club over a couple of years ago was the pitching staff, and he made all those deals a couple of winters ago when actually he's only got 7 players left who were here when he originally took over. Traded 13 players, got 10 in return. Some said he made 1 trade too many, getting rid of Vukovic and Simmons and Fingers. He was worried about the pitching, and what's really has hurt him most of this year has been the lack of hitting. You've got to generate it with speed.
Stuper was acquired from the Pittsburgh Pirates for Tommy Stant, who is now managing in the Pirates farm system. Stuper, as he said, look at my record last year. It didn't look like it was such a great trade for St. Louis. 6-14 at Springfield. Here he is in the big leagues, a 9-7 rookie year. His second World Series start. And he gets Gantner his first strikeout tonight.
Number 4.
One out, top of the order. Paul Molitor. Pop to the shortstop, his first trip. Yount to follow. Yount's error extending the second inning for the Cardinals as they score 2 unearned runs. A flash of lightning and a ground ball to her. Smith back to Hernandez. Double play. Cardinals turn their 9th double play of this World Series. And we're at the middle of the 3rd inning. The rain is close, and the Cardinals are in front 2-0.
We've talked a lot about the qualities that a great shortstop like Smith has, but here's another one, fearlessness. He is listed in the spring training guide at 150. I imagine after the long season, he's probably down to 140, and he just went right at the runner coming at him, made him get down.
Ozzie Smith, one of the many athletes in this World Series, superlatives most deserving. 2-0 St. Louis. No rain yet, but flashes of lightning, rolls of thunder off in the distance. And there's another mistake by the Brewer infield as Gantner can't pick up the ball. It appeared he might have taken a quick look to see who was covering first. Cooper had left the bag. Sutton was covering. Another error, the second by Milwaukee.
One of the fundamentals that players on the right side of the diamond in the infield adhere to is if a ball's hit hard to the first baseman right, he goes for it. If it's soft, you let your second baseman take it. Cooper went after it, maybe because of the artificial surface. He thought it was going to get through. He might have been right. He might have peeked to see if Sutton was going to get over.
So Smith aboard. On the air to Gantner. Ken Oberkfell fly to right field. His first at bat. 2-0 St. Louis, last of the 3rd inning. The Brewers win it. They are the World Series champions. The Cardinals have to win tonight to force Game 7, scheduled for tomorrow night, if necessary, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Oberkfell, who has had an outstanding series. Here's a man hitting .438, but with so many men swinging the bat well, especially on the Milwaukee side. Oberkfell has really been lost down in the bottom of the column in the write-ups of the various games. Smith, an excellent base stealer at first base. Runner goes. Simmons throw. Smith has stolen it. That's the Cardinals' 7th stolen base of the series.
Ted Simmons did all he could do. Handled the ball well, got rid of it, maybe a little bit up. There's no way if that ball's right on the bag even that he's going to get him. The aggressiveness of the Cardinals is what got him here.
That head-first slide, so effective on that particular play. And now the first base coach and Gene Ginsel are running out to talk to Lonnie Smith, who on the slide may have injured himself.
Here comes Whitey Herzog out too. I think it's interesting when you compare the styles.
It's his hand, Tony.
The
it's
great
his hand.
Lou Brock. Lou Brock, who slid only feet first. You might recall that Ricky Henderson jammed his shoulder late in the season. And this is one of the reasons right now why some don't like that slide head first.
Oh, that left hand jammed on the front side of the bag.
That's why Ricky Henderson didn't get what a lot of people thought he's going to get, about 150, because he jammed his shoulder. Yount taking the throw. He slides late, slides very hard, and gets the left hand, it looks like, caught between his body and the bag.
Tom Seaver, your comment.
Dick, one thing I've been watching here is Don Sutton. I talked to him the other day about an inning that he threw 29 pitches when they got the runs off him the second game here in St. Louis. He has pitched over 260 innings this year, the most he has pitched since 1976, and he simply said he was tired, fatigued, and he has been some behind almost half of the hitters, he's starting off with balls, which is very uncharacteristic of Don Sutton.
And his defense has failed him in these early innings. Trailing 2-0. Sutton has a runner at second, no one out. Fly ball shallow, right center. Gantner calling. And the second baseman has it.
So Oberkfell trying to pull the ball with nobody out, and Smith down at second couldn't get it on the ground.
Keith Hernandez, who will be 29 years old tomorrow, would like to start an early celebration. After going 0 for 15, picked up 3 hits Sunday in Milwaukee and hit the ball well first time up, but Cooper made a good play to get him on a 3-1 out. Rain, light rain falling.
And very quickly, Hernandez says, I want you to check the baseball. First time we've had it happen to Sutton tonight.
Jim Evans of the American League behind home plate. Lonnie Smith at second base, 1 out, last of the 3rd inning. Cardinals got 2 unearned runs in the last of the 2nd. Ball 2. As Tom Seaver pointed out, unlike Don Sutton, who throws strikes, he's fallen behind the hitter once again. Whitey Herzog named in the current issue of Sporting News as the National League Manager of the Year. That's a bit surprising considering the competition. Joe Torre, Frank Robinson.
See, last year was Executive of the Year and Manager of the Year according to some polls.
2 balls, no strikes to Hernandez. Undoubtedly swinging if he liked the pitch, but got a tough breaking ball in on his hands. George Hendrick would be next. Smith safe on an error by Gantner, stole second.
Young at shortstop's been jockeying back and forth to try and hold Lonnie Smith close, but Hernandez hits that way, so he can't cheat too much.
Foul tip, and it's 2-2. Sutton, 37 years of age, against Hernandez, who finds a way to get on base. Two balls, 2 strikes. To steal third with Hernandez up in game 5. That was in the first inning. At Milwaukee was thrown out by Simmons. Simple baseball rule. If you can make it, it's a good play, but you've got to be sure you can steal third with that left-handed batter up. He was on his own. Big lead. Gantner to Cooper for the 2nd out as Smith advances to 3rd.
Number 25, right fielder, George Hendrick.
Well, just as Hernandez will be 29 tomorrow, George Hendrick, his 33rd birthday yesterday. On Sunday, had 3 base hits to improve his average to 278.
Silent George has all but said that should the Cardinals come back and win in 7, he might even grant some interviews.
Lonnie Smith, the 3rd, 2 out.
The official word on Lonnie Smith, he jammed the ring finger on his left hand with that slide at second base.
Here he comes! And they get him! A daring play as Lonnie Smith attempts to steal home, and it took a perfect throw by Sutton to nail him. Oh, my.
Sutton sensed that. He might have been looking out of the corner of an eye after he looked him back. He didn't really rush his delivery to create a balk, but he threw the ball inside part of the plate. where Simmons could just slap the tag and move that glove about 1.5 feet. Watch it. He sets up outside, and Sutton, sensing it, throws the ball inside, seeing him coming. Only a veteran pitcher could have done that.
It's a dangerous tag by Simmons with one hand, but coming in head first.
Oh, he's safe. He is safe.
He looked to be in there.
He is safe.
So the Cardinals try to literally steal a run, and Smith, on what now appears to be a questionable call, is called out. It's 2-0 after 3.
I've been hearing this other guy talk about his realistic home video football game.
You can see Simmons steps up. Out of 6 replays, this one appears to show that Lonnie Smith's hand sneaked in before the Simmons tag. There it is. If his hand was on the plate, and you cannot even tell from that, it might have been 4 or 5 inches above the plate gliding across, but that appeared that he was safe.
And of course, the plate umpire Jim Evans, a tough call because it plays out in front of him, and he has Simmons in the way, his body in the way, has to look around it, and from his angle it appeared safe. But certainly from that replay, there's no doubt about it that Lonnie Smith had stolen home, and what a play that would have been, but goes for naught.
Simmons and Sutton sensing it, and Simmons creeping up and dropping to his knees where he could get the tag off a little more quickly.
Robin Yount, a high fly ball to right field. Hendrick there. And that's the first out of the Milwaukee 4th.
We'll show you Lonnie Smith's job on Don Sutton with Hendrick up on the steal of home. Yep. Sutton just changes. Simmons had set up outside. Sutton is the one who adjusted and threw the ball inside. Lonnie Smith never really argued.
Watch Hendrick as he doesn't move to try to block Simmons because he can't really get in front of him. It'd be an interference, but Simmons, being down low, was able to see the runner.
Cecil Cooper up. Long fly ball to left field, his first time up. And fouls it back.
You know, if George Hendrick had swung at that pitch and hit Simmons, that's a catcher's balk.
Well, he did what all he could was to try to block it. There's a lot of things the umpire has to.
Well, Hendricks, had he swung at that, it would have kept Simmons back a little bit more. Watch this. If Hendrick swings right now with Simmons coming up, that's a catcher's balk. And they would have awarded the base runner Smith home. As it is, he may have made it anyway.
High fly, shallow right center, a quartet of Cardinals surrounding it, and Ozzie takes it. Two out in the Milwaukee 4th, and Ted Simmons, the catcher, is the batter. He walked his first trip. And it's been a rarity for a steal of home in World Series play. In fact, you have to go back 18 years. Catcher Tim McCarver was the last to do it. May have been at the front end of a double steal. But just the all-out, just one man trying to steal home, so rare anymore. Rod Carew did it a few times a couple years ago. Simmons drills it to right center, but Hendrick is there. And it's 1-2-3 for Milwaukee in their 4th inning. It could be more, but after 3.5, the Cardinals will settle for 2-0. Lonnie Smith apparently had number 3. In the last of the 4th, Hendrick, Porter, and Ord for St. Louis.
Whitey Ford on the mound for the Yankees as they lead the Dodgers 6-3. At the plate, Frank Keller. Dancing off third is Jackie Robinson. Ford wary of Robinson as he starts to the plate trying to steal home. He slides as Yogi Berra puts the tag on him. Bill Summers calls Robinson safe, and Berra goes wild.
Now, many feel, in looking back at that 55 film, that Robinson was out. Berra certainly thought so. Just the reverse here tonight. Smith called out, feared he was safe. the hazards of the steal of home. George Hendrick pops it up and out of play. The weather report, still no heavy rain, although the forecast is almost 100%, but we've been blessed though thus far. Some parts of the front have moved through.
So I think it's interesting how much further out Yogi got than Ted Simmons did. Yogi was out in front of home plate.
Simmons really reacted late. It was Sutton who made the play.
Loop to center and a base hit. Now George Hendrick with a handle hit to center field. Leadoff man on again. Cardinals lead 2-0 last of the fourth inning. Trying to force a seventh game. Porter hit the ball hard again, but the way the Brewers have played him with Gantner over into the hole took the hit away. Gantner does not have that luxury. He has to give some ground toward the bag with the possibility of a double play. Ball one. Busch Stadium, 53,000. 723, the first two games of this World Series, an all-time stadium record. One and one. 2 runs unearned. If you're just joining us in the second inning with 2 out, Orge with a drive down the left field line off the glove of Ogilvy for a double. Then Willie McGee's ball went right through the legs of Robin Yount for a run, and then Tommy Herr doubled off the wall to throw to the plate in time, but a high bounce. McGee slid in safely, and it's 2-0.
Might recall in game 2, I think one of the best managerial decisions in this series. Hendrick on first, Porter up 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Whitey Herzog started Hendrick. Look at how quickly he unloaded. He's going to ball. He quick pitched, thinking the hit and run was out. He quick pitched and they called the ball. At least 3 of the 4 umpires in the infield raised their hands, calling a ball. He wanted to unload and pitch out, thinking they do it again in game 6. Watch Sutton at the belt, breaks the left knee.
There was no set at all. He just came up and threw the ball.
He began right at the belt and just went up a little bit, and he just unloaded a quick pitch is what he did.
He knew it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at second. And a high drive deep right. Porter will touch. No, it's off the top of the wall. No, it's out here. Home run. Home run.
Championship series against Atlanta. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looked like it was inside part of the plate, about fell high. Fans are rocking in St. Louis.
In nearly the same spot as Tommy Herr's, and very tough to read the ball down there. 1 ball off the top of the fence, and that went off a barrier beyond the fence for the home run, and the Cardinals celebrate a 4-0 lead. Still no one out in the 4th. Dane Orge, it was his fly ball down the left field line that Ogilvy could not handle. Went for a double that started the 2-run second inning. Base hit. More into the corner. Orge is going to go for 3. the Cardinals, scratching to stay in this World Series, unloading some extra base hits.
Fourth extra base hit in this ball game for the Cardinals, and will force Brewer infield to come in. Mighty Herzog, who built this team on speed, scrappiness, Bruce Sutter in defense.
Harvey Keene has a right-hander throwing in the bullpen. Jim Slayton, Willie McGee up. McGee safe on Robin Yount's error. Yount coming in to say something to Sutton. No, he's going to pick up a piece of paper. There's Slayton. Winner in game 4 in relief. McGee, great speed, and the infield drawn tight. High chop, but the runner doesn't come home. Yount gets McGee, and that's a first out of the inning. Forge probably could have scored on that high bouncer, but with no one out, didn't take the chance. With one out, the same ball, he's coming on contact. Tommy Herr, the RBI double off the top of the wall in the second inning. And same situation, Molitor, Yount, Gantner, and Cooper all playing in close.
Herr, a good bunter. He's a switch hitter from the left side. A little more difficult to put the squeeze out. Let's see if Sutton goes from the stretch to the windup. It's from the stretch. Or is he? Herzog squeezed quite a bit during the course of the season. Coming.
Beautiful bunt. The run scores. And Herr is out as Cooper makes the tag. The suicide squeeze executed perfectly.
A verbal signal from Chuck Hiller. A base runner, or doesn't leave till Sutton throws the ball. I was very surprised he pitched from the windup and not the stretch.
Ozzie Smith, the batter. 2 out, no one on. Fouled at the plate. Tom Seaver.
One thing that's difficult in that situation, Dick, for a pitcher that puts his head down in the delivery, many pitchers will put their head down to try and keep their weight forward on the front foot. So obviously take your eye off the runner at third, and the runner at that turn timed it perfectly. As soon as Sutton put his head down, that's when he broke for the plate, and you couldn't defense the suicide squeeze.
Smith to Cooper, and he'll take the play himself at first base, but the Busch Stadium crowd cheers a 3-run fourth inning. 3 runs on a 2-run homer, a single, and a triple. And after 4, it's St. Louis 5, Milwaukee nothing. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
St. Elsewhere is funny,
What happened to him?
Hospital food.
but it's real.
He died, Ben, just like that.
St. Elsewhere premieres next Tuesday.
Louis tonight on News 4.
Here in St. Louis, the good news for the Cardinal fans, 5 runs. The bad news, it's raining harder. At the commissioner's box is Bob Costas.
All right, thank you, Dick. Commissioner, we're 3 outs away from this being an official ball game. Your thoughts at this point?
Well, the rain's coming down pretty well. If the judge with the umpires interferes play, we'll stop and we'll wait.
How long are you prepared to wait, Commissioner?
A long time.
Let's go back upstairs to Joe and Tony and Dick and wait it out.
It is raining much harder now, and at this pace, they're going to have to bring out the tarp, even with the artificial surface. Ben Ogilvie is the leadoff hitter for Milwaukee in the 5th inning. The forecast that we received was rain around 9 o'clock was one of the many that Tony alluded to. It is 8:30 St. Louis time, and the word was that it could rain for an hour and a half, but then it would clear for another 4 or 5 hours. So what we might be in is an hour and a half, 2-hour rain delay if it worsens, and it is raining hard enough to stop play.
The umpires, even though Commissioner Kuhn is making the decision, are in a tough spot. They're trying to get 3 outs in and making the Brewers hitting this and the Cardinals pitch and play in this. It's unfair to both teams. And if it becomes an official game, it's unfair to end any World Series game that way.
Willie McGee in center field takes care of Ogilvie, 1 out. Now 4.5 innings makes it an official game with the Cardinals ahead.
It's a tough decision for Bowie Kuhn with the 5 runs up there, and with the 5 runs, if Gussie Busch has to, he'll hire 25,000 people with blotters.
to get this game in.
Gorman Thomas, the center fielder, flied out his first time up. John Stuper working on a 5-0 lead. 1 strike. Cardinals 2 unearned runs in the second. Played a little long ball in the fourth. Darrell Porter's 2-run homer, an Ord's triple. We saw the long and the short of it, the home run and the sacrifice suicide squeeze. And it is lightning a bit.
The boo was for Gorman Thomas, who had stepped out of the box. But Stuper was really cleaning his cleats. It won't take long with the rain as hard as it did to get that mud stuck in the cleats of his shoes.
This amount of rain in County Stadium might force delay of play. There's a strike, and it's 1-2 on a grass surface. A lightoscope of color with all those umbrellas now in evidence.
Stuper's throwing the ball very well.
2-2. 1 out in the 5th inning. To repeat, the home team ahead, you only have to play 4.5 innings for it to be a legal game. 1 out in the top of the 5th, and that's ball 3. 3-2 to Thomas. Don Money to follow. As the commissioner, Bowie Kuhn, indicated, they will wait a long time. Three balls, 2 strikes. Whitey Herzog's Cardinals 5 runs up here in game 6. '25-year-old rookie right-hander Stuper working on a 2-hitter. Thomas is Stuper's second strikeout victim. And here's Don Money.
And we didn't see quite this kind of stuff from Stuper in game number 2. That was a wicked-looking slider. Look at that. Not only breaks away, but a good downward action. That's what Hub Killer's trying to do. Keep him on top of that slider.
As soon as they got the ball at Hernandez, he gave it right back to Stuper.
Ball 1 to Money, who grounded into a 5-4-3 double play his first trip. Those are the fans underneath the upper deck, so they're protected from the elements. Oberkfell. It is now an official game as Stuper retires the Brewers in order. Eight men in a row retired by John Stuper. We're at the halfway mark, 4.5 innings, 5-0 St. Louis.
I'm finished.
Change.
I'm not finished.
Leading off for the Cardinals, number 27.
Today, game 6. Tomorrow, well, Joaquin Andujar, the Dominican ace of the Cardinals, who pitched so magnificently in game 3 and then struck by that shot back to the box off the bat of Ted Simmons. His health is still questionable, but apparently will be the starter if there is a game 7. The rain, while it is still falling to a much lesser degree than earlier, one and one.
Dick Andujar threw on the off day yesterday. There's Commissioner Kuhn. As the rain has let up just a little bit. But Andujar threw yesterday on the off day, and again today. He throws against the wall in center field. He still has trouble perching on that right leg. Pushing off.
Good breaking ball. 1-2 to Lonnie Smith, to be followed by Oberkfell and Hernandez here in the last of the 5th inning. 5-0 St. Louis. Loop behind first. Tough play. Fair ball. And Smith falls down, and Moore's got a shot at him. He goes back to first.
You know, it's interesting because some players and media people have made fun of him the times he falls down. As a small child, he was pigeon-toed, his toes turned in. And here he is in the rundown as he slips around. And what happens is the toe from his right foot many times catches on the calf of his left foot, and he can't avoid it. It's a little bit of a slight disability growing up that he started to correct. And that's why he falls so much. And it's been upsetting when they've called him skates.
He alertly, seeing the play being made at second base, retreated to first. Leadoff hit for Smith. Oberkfell is 0 for 2 today.
How about Charlie Moore getting that ball and once again so quickly? I know he fell down, but Charlie still might have had a shot at him.
Cardinals trying to build on a 5-0 lead. Slayton throwing again in the Milwaukee bullpen. Isn't it incredible? Don Sutton, such a quality pitcher, one of the all-time winningest pitchers, 258 wins. Always having trouble here. 7-14 lifetime in Busch Stadium. It's been his jinx part. Slayton in the bullpen.
Harvey Keene, Dick, continues to manage like he did all season long, and even in this series. Let Haas go, and he got some runs off him. He let Vukovich go, and he's doing it with Sutton. Because his team has the ability to come back.
Sutton has been in 4 other World Series with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but never on a winning team. Well, he said he didn't feel the pressure, or at least it wasn't in his top 3. He's very hungry. It's the one thing that's eluded him. He wants a World Series ring. The play is at first base, and Oberkfell out. That serves as a sacrifice as Smith moves into scoring position.
And what happens with this rain here in St. Louis on the artificial turf is the field is going to get very fast. The ball hits, and it's going to just scoot, especially on this carpet that's worn out, as we told you earlier.
Keith Hernandez, the batter for St. Louis, has grounded out twice tonight. Sutton is number 9 all time in shutouts, tied with Bob Gibson, and number 8 all time in strikeouts. There's no sacrifice on that play, but it served as a sacrifice. Don't have to throw to second or to third.
That's the one pitch that's been missing in this series, is that brushback or knockdown. In fact, a lot of people asking the question why the Cardinals haven't been moving Robin Yount off the plate. Many feeling Dickie Knowles did it to George Brett in the Philadelphia-Kansas City World Series, turning that series around.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Here's the pitch high and tight that moves him back. It simply says to the hitter, hey, you're taking all the plate, and half of it is mine, and I want my half back. And then there are pitchers like Bob Gibson who say, I'm not giving it back, I'm keeping it all. And then you've got that battle going.
Light rain continues to fall. Last of the 5th inning, 5-0 St. Louis. Out of play.
It's a reason right there where you have to brush a hitter like Hernandez back, because he's been trying to hit the ball off to the left side if you pitch him away. World Series. Game has never been called due to rain.
Once it has begun, a World Series game has begun. Smith at second base, and Hernandez calls time.
I'll tell you, I'm sure it is possible, but this game not being played 9 innings, there would be people in Milwaukee that would volunteer to walk down here to dry this field, and I don't blame them.
Check swing foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Hernandez.
Sutton thrown pretty hard, but they're forcing him into a lot of pressure situations. Part of it by his defense. There you'll see how hard it is raining. The initial cloud burst was harder than that, but it's still coming down pretty steadily.
The gateways, the arches in the same conformation as the Saarinen Arch that marks this city along the Mississippi.
Show you how aware Sutton is of Lonnie Smith at second base. He stepped off a couple of times. Decoy to pick off, no pitch. Hernandez requested time, got it from home plate umpire Jim Evans.
George Hendrick not even in the on-deck circle. He's back in the dugout with the rain falling, just staying dry, keeping the bat dry. Foul ball. If there is a game 7, the scheduled pitchers, Joaquin Andujar, St. Louis, Pete Vukovich for Milwaukee tomorrow night, unless the rain. Well, that's it now. It's an official game, so if there is a game 7, it will be tomorrow night. Raining a little harder now. Now the crowd, of course, wanting the game to progress, but they can't get too unhappy because at this point they're going to have to stop play or go a full 9 anyway. It's an official game. High drive, deep right field. Hernandez will touch them all. St. Louis Cardinals, last in the major leagues in home runs, muscle up tonight, and here it comes hard. It is really raining now as Harvey Keene goes to the mound. Hernandez lights up the scoreboard. It's 7-0 St. Louis.
So now each team has 4 home runs in this World Series. In fact, the Cardinals are the first team ever to win a division, last in home runs in their league. Look at it pour. Slayton already coming in from the bullpen. They're going to put the tarp on. The umpires are waving the teams off the field, and they're going to cover it.
So the St. Louis Cardinals leading 7-0, last of the 5th inning, 1 out. It is an official game, and now they'll cover the field. If it's true to the predictions, we probably have an hour's rain coming.
You may want to take note of the time here in St. Louis, 8:43, just to see how long it will take.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here comes a tarp to cover the dirt spot. And in Milwaukee, we have a camera at Harvey's Bar, Little Caesars, and I'm sure it's a somber crowd, hopefully waiting. There it is. That's the crowd. They're behind their Brewers. It's live. And they want this game to continue.
That's just a few blocks away from the ballpark.
Well, they're happy now. They're on national television, but they were somber before we switched there. Let's go to Bob Costas.
All right, thank you, Dick Enberg. We are with Commissioner Kuhn, and now the question everybody asks. The same rules technically apply as during regular season, but not the same philosophy, I would guess.
Well, Bob, you go back and look at the history of the World Series, except for a couple of tied games, every game has been played to a 9-inning or more decision. And you'd have to anticipate that's what we're looking to do here.
What's the weather information you have?
Weather information says that this heavy rain will probably last anywhere from half an hour to an hour. Pass through, it's a rather fast-moving front, and behind it we should have perfectly acceptable weather. So we'll wait.
There's no curfew. Will we play ball, if necessary, at 2:30, 3:30 in the morning?
Without any question.
There's the fact that it's 7-0 and as close as you can get to a rout against a powerful club like Milwaukee. Does that make it different than if it was 1-0?
None whatsoever.
Let's wait.
We'll wait.
Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, let's go back upstairs to Dick Enberg, Joe Garagiola, and Tony Kubek.
Well, we've had conflicting weather reports since noon this afternoon. One of the reports that we heard that in Kansas City, west of here, It had gotten very cold, and there were traces of sleet. That's unconfirmed, of course. Talked to somebody who drove down from Chicago several hours away. They said it rained. It was bad weather all the way down. So they expect cool weather to follow this. Don't know when that's going to come in.
They said there could be a 20 to 30 degree drop in temperature, and that apparently is why there was a tornado warning up for the St. Louis area until 10 o'clock tonight. I have not felt the cold weather yet, but apparently that is coming too. So a rain delay here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis for the bottom of the 5th inning. The Cardinals in front of the Brewers 7-0. We'll be back in just a moment. It is not raining quite as hard as it was when we left just a minute and a half ago. 7-0 St. Louis, and we're in the bottom of the 5th inning. I think they'll wind up playing the 9 innings.
As the commissioner said, they will wait. I think it's interesting to see what will happen to young John Stuper. He has really thrown the ball well, Dick. He's retired the last 9 in a row when you consider the double play. 2 base hits. He raced them very quickly with 2 sinker ball, double play balls. But veteran pitchers have a way of knowing how to handle rain situations. I'm sure Whitey or Hub Kittle will sit with him and tell him how to handle the situation to keep himself prepared when action resumes.
Joe, your feelings?
Well, my feeling would be that if Stuper can't go, he'll use Bear, and then he'll use Bruce Sutter, because if he loses tonight, he doesn't have to worry until next April, so he can't be worried about what's going to happen. He's got to do it right now. But Bob Costas is with the man right now that can give us some answers, so let's go to Bob Costas and Whitey Herzog.
You've got it. Or if they don't start again, you've got it. If they... in any event, once this ball game starts, you're in a 7-0 situation, so you're looking ahead to tomorrow.
Well, actually, Bobby, I don't like the rain. Super was pitching real well. If we have a real long delay, I really don't know if I want to bring him back or not. I may have to go to my bullpen. He was pitching real well, but if we're off about an hour, I don't know whether I want to bring him back, because it could hurt his arm.
Assuming you can hold on and win one way or the other in this game, that's a big assumption against a club like Milwaukee. Tomorrow, is Joaquin ready?
Well, he says he can pitch, and I've got to give him the ball. He's been a great pitcher for us all year. I really believe, Bobby, that if I didn't pitch him, he'd shoot me. And so I'm going to put him out there and see what happens. But if he couldn't pitch, then it would be Dave LaPointe.
Do you go to a 7th game strategy, starting LaPointe, and then thinking maybe Forge can pitch a couple innings on 2 days rest? Anything to get you to Sutter?
Well, it would be like tonight's game. I was going to try that, probably use the whole staff if I had to try to win. But I have great confidence in Joaquin. If he's all right, can throw the ball over the plate, he's going to give us a good ball point. And if I start LaPointe, of course, everybody will be ready to go because there's no tomorrow.
Let's talk about the feeling of this Cardinal club coming in tonight after a couple of pretty tough losses on Saturday and Sunday in Milwaukee.
Well, we lost a real tough ball game on Saturday. A couple of walks, air, a couple of blue pits, one off of Obi's glove, one that Jan tried to hold up, and we ended up losing the ball game. And that was a big game for Milwaukee. That could have been the pivotal ball game of the series, and it might well be yet. Sunday's ball game, we had a lot of chances. We didn't have the right guys on the run. We didn't run the bases. We got 15 hits, and they hung on and beat us. It was just one of those things. But it's a series that you never know what's going to happen from night to night. I mean, they come out smoking, we come out smoking, and I think it's been pretty exciting outside of the first game.
Has this Milwaukee club been about what you've expected, or have there been some surprises?
No, Bobby, I'll be very honest. I knew they were a good defensive ball club. I had managed against them 5 years over Kansas City. They got a ball club that... when you look at their infield, Cooper's great. Gantner's still in at second, doing a good job. Molitor and Yount, what can you say about them? They're just good all-around ball players. And Gorman Thomas, to me, has always been a good center fielder. He's been playing a little bit crippled up, but he's still a good center fielder. And I'm surprised that we haven't hit him a little bit better. Their pitch has been very good against us.
You've answered this question to 100 reporters at least, but for our television audience, now that we have some time to elaborate, a lot of debate about the way you used Sutter over the weekend. Can you elaborate on your strategy for us?
Well, Bobby, I used him just the way I used him all year. He went 35 pitches on Friday night. And having him 2 years, I know it's awful tough for him to come back the next day. He has to muscle his split finger fastball. When he can't do that, he really can't pitch. I could have used him Saturday if we'd have got 2 outs in the 8th, maybe 1 out in the 9th. I didn't want to use him. And it was just a situation. But I think you have to remember that Bear and Cott have done the job all year for us. And they have been able to, when Sutter couldn't pitch, they've stepped right in and done. Unfortunately, they're just human beings, and they didn't get it done on Saturday. But I didn't know that. And by the time I would have even used Sutter after that, it was already tied up, and I certainly wasn't going to put him in a tie ball game.
Your club has flashed power tonight. Porter and Hernandez with the homers, her a drive off the wall. But most of the season, that hasn't been your trademark. I want to tell our audience about how you went about putting together this ball club, what your thinking was with this park and the personnel that you had.
Bobby, you don't see too many home runs hitting this ballpark. This might be the first game we've hit 2 home runs all year in one ball game. The Giants came in here one series, they were hot, and they hit 4 home runs in one ball game, and it really surprised me. So we kind of live by the stolen base, a hit and run defense, try to take the gaps away from the other team, and just hope we can keep the ball in the ballpark. We haven't played as good here as I thought we'd play. I thought we'd be a better ball club at home this year than we have been. Our club played better on the road than it did at home, which was very surprising to me. And a club like the Mets came in here and they beat us 5 times, and we went up there on grass and beat them 8 times. That doesn't make much sense to me. I would think it might be the other way around, but we've had some strange things happen, but really we are tailor-made for this ballpark.
Whitey Herzog, the manager of the Cardinals, a lot happier tonight than he was a couple of days ago. With the rain falling, his club leads at 7-0. We're going to wait an awful long time, and as we do, let's go to the Milwaukee side and Byron Day. Byron?
Okay, Bob, thanks very much. We're standing here with the third base coach for the Milwaukee Brewers, Harry Warner. And Harry, you and I were just talking. The rain looks like it's letting up a little bit, but this could be a break for you guys, you know, to get in there and kind of regroup a little bit. What's it like in the locker room right now?
Right now, they're just playing a whole lot of cards in there, and you're right, we do need to regroup. We're 7 down, and we're now in the 6th inning, and we're not out of this 5th one yet, so we've got a big task ahead of us. Hopefully we can come back.
What seems to be the mood? Some of the players were a little reluctant to come out here and talk with us. Do you think maybe they're a little embarrassed or a little uptight, or what's the mood in there?
I don't think they're uptight. They might be a little embarrassed right at this point, but as you know, Byron, all year long we've been coming back, and I wouldn't count this game out yet.
Okay, Harry, listen, thanks very much. Over in the Cardinal dugout now, Bob Costas is sitting down with the probable starter, if there is a 7th game, Joaquin Andahar. Bob?
All right, thank you, Byron. A moment ago, we had Whitey Herzog on with us, Joaquin. He said if he doesn't give you the ball tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow in this World Series, you might shoot him. Is that the way you feel about it?
Well, you know, right now, you know, my knee feels so, you know, but I'm going to go over there in the mound and give my best just like I've been doing before, you know. I'm going to give you 100%.
On Friday night, when the shot off the bat of Simmons hit you, did you think something was broken? You were in an awful lot of pain.
Well, you know, since the ball hit me, I thought he broke my kneecap, you know. And I was real pain, you know. That's the 3rd time I've been hit in 1 month, you know. And I said, oh, this is it.
If this was the regular season, you think you'd miss at least 1 turn in the rotation?
No, because I've been hit by a line drive before in my knee, you know. I never miss in my rotation, you know. I always want to pitch.
So if there is a Game 7, then the question isn't your health. The question is, what's up here? How are you going to feel going into a 7th game? And this is all or nothing, and everybody's eyes will be on you.
Well, you know, it's no pressure for me. You know, I take this game just like another game. You know, I don't care if it's going to be a 7th game. I don't care. I'm just going to go over there, and I have to throw a strike, you know, because if you don't throw a strike, you're not going to win. That means this is another game for me.
On Friday night before you were hit, you were throwing about as well as you have all year.
Well, I really don't throw hard, you know, but I think tomorrow I will throw hard around 97, 98. If you clock it, you will know.
All right, we'll have the gun on Joaquin Andahar tomorrow. We'll see if he gets up to 97 or 98. That's if there is a tomorrow in this World Series. The Cardinals leading 7-0 in the midst of a rain delay. Back upstairs to Joe Garagiola, Tony Kubek, and Dick Enberg.
Well, it sounded like Joaquin Andahar wants to pitch, definitely intends to pitch, and I ran into Hub Kittle today walking around downtown and asked him about it, and Hub, who knows him better than anybody, said he is one tough young pitcher, and if he can, he will pitch. And that'll mean a lot to that ball club, obviously, just hearing him talk like that, Tony.
If he pitches, and we're sure he will, how effective will he be? As we said, he is thrown up against the wall. They're removing the tarp now very slowly. He's thrown against the wall, and he has that Dominican Republic style of pitching, patterned after
Juan
Marichal. Juan Marichal. Couldn't think of it off the top of my tongue. But he poses on that right leg a lot longer than some, and that's the leg that was injured. So he says he thinks he can pitch, but how effectively?
Well, that'll be the question, and the weight as he rocks back will be all on that right knee and will be tested early. And with a home run hitting team facing you, you can't afford to ease up and hang one of those curveballs. The interesting note, just looking through my statistics, 7-0 seems an insurmountable lead for any club, but the Brewers had 3 men, Yount, Cooper, and Thomas, all three of those fellows hit 20 home runs on the road this year. Just on the road, those three men hit 20. So it is a lineup with a couple of breaks, maybe a delay. Maybe Stuper doesn't come back as sharply as he was when he left because of the delay. And for Milwaukee fans, they have to find hope in the statistical book.
Well, it's 8:56 right here.
It's tuning up for the Brewers. He has not appeared in this World Series. Defensively, it'll be the battery of Slayton now and Simmons with the same alignment. Molitor third, Yount at short, Gantner at second, and Cooper at first. The outfield, Ogilvy, Thomas, and Charlie Moore.
And the Cardinals, with 5 extra base hits already in this ball game, have shown more power. One ball game. We expected that from the Milwaukee Brewers. They have not, as Tom said earlier, shown that explosion of power. They put a lot of singles together. There's the defense behind Slayton, Ogilvy, Thomas, Moore, Molitor, Yount, Gantner, Cooper, Ted Simmons behind the plate. They've got a long way to come back if they can. The way Stuper is throwing the ball with that bullpen, it is going to be tough, even as well as they hit.
Slayton has yet to throw his first pitch in the game and will face Hendrick with 1 out and the base is empty thanks to Hernandez homer just before the heavy rains. Now the Cardinal fans have come back from their cover underneath the stands and we're set to go. Hendrick struck out and singled facing Sutton. And he comes out swinging.
Slayton has played a very important and a tough role for this Brewer team all year. He has been a starter, short reliever, long reliever, and he's done well in almost every area.
High pop, Cooper and Gantner on the right side. It's the second baseman. And Gantner squeezes the second out.
Number 15,
We had, what, about a 26-minute delay, thereabouts? Maybe a couple minutes longer.
Based on the predictions we were getting, the very predictions, if that's all there's going to be in terms of rain, we were fortunate because the estimates were up to an hour and a half of heavy rain. We just had really about 10 minutes of a solid downpour. Porter, hard ground ball out and a 2-run homer and hits this one hard to deep left. Ogilvy back. And the inning is over. The Cardinals, a long inning with a delay of rain, settle in the 5th for 2 runs on 2 hits. One of them Hernandez home run, and after 5 at Busch Stadium, St. Louis 7, Milwaukee nothing. Panoramic view of Busch Stadium, St. Louis, 53,723. The Cardinals lead 7-0. John Stuper through 5 innings has walked 1, struck out 2, allowed only 2 hits, both singles, one by Ogilvy, one by Moore, and leads 7-0. He has a new left fielder, David Green. Lonnie Smith is out, perhaps because of that jammed ring finger.
Third inning, after he'd gotten on air by Gantner, he dove, jammed the left hand into the second base bag, got it caught up. So Whitey Herzog, Gene Gieselman, the trainer, probably putting some ice on it, saving him for tomorrow.
Now Stuper will be watched closely, but he comes out throwing a strike. He has retired the last 8 batters that he has faced. Moore has one of the 2 Milwaukee hits. Hits this one deep to left field. If it's fair, it's gone. Foul ball by a couple of feet.
It's pretty obvious what they said to Stuper. Don't walk anybody, throw strikes. But with this Milwaukee club, they're loaded. It doesn't take long for them to come back.
Breaking ball that Porter wants down, about belt high inside part of the plate. He was having trouble the first few innings with that breaking ball of this game, and then after they put the 5 runs on the board, he threw the ball very well. Threw a couple of wicked sliders, and it looked like he was more loose, he was more relaxed, and the ball was moving more.
Line to Smith.
Ozzie Smith, who showed his intelligence when he changed his style of play for the Brewers, playing very deeply. Game number 1, where a lot of hits were beaten out. He has adjusted, come back in. His anticipation is tremendous.
That ball was hit viciously, and Smith with the out. Jim Gantner struck out his only at bat. 2-0 the count. 7-0. St. Louis leads. Game 6, the Cardinals have to win. And if they do, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Game 7. Gantner a fly to right. Routine. Hendrick there. 10 in a row retired by Stuper.
He has a very lively fastball, Stuper, when he's relaxed. That appeared or sounded like another broken bat. As far as I can count, that's 3 that I can hear way up here.
There are 2 yardsticks you can use, but how live that fastball is. The broken bats that Tony talked to, and if you're keeping score, look at how many of them are in the air.
Molitor has popped up and grounded into a double play. Stuper's from Butler, Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh. He's been a big Pittsburgh sports fan all of his life and drafted by the Pirates. Out of play. Said he was disappointed initially because he'd always dreamed of being a Pittsburgh star, but he said now that he's here in St. Louis, couldn't be happier. But he still says, I'm a Steeler fan. Oberkfell, and it's another 1-2-3 inning. Now John Stuper has retired 11 in a row. We've completed 5.5 at Busch Stadium, St. Louis, and the Cardinals continue to enjoy a 7-0 advantage.
The move made by Harvey Kane to save Slayton, a good middle reliever, for tomorrow. And I'm not saying he's given up on this thing, but there could be delays off and on. Down by 7.
Medich, who was acquired by the Brewers in mid-August from the Texas Rangers, did a good job for him. Won his first 3 decisions in Milwaukee. He's won 10 or more 4 straight years.
Control pitcher, nibble at the corners, sinker, slider, curveball, little change. He's got to be down.
Dane Orge, a double and a triple. So he's hitting .500 in the series, 6 for 12. They're going to have Dane Orge Day up in Eureka, California this week. Ideal designated hitter, a man who played various positions, but he's in the lineup because of his bat, and he can swing it.
We're going to tell some of our fans who might not know the Doc is a little bit.
2-1. Hit to left field and well. Off the wall. And Orge has his 3rd straight extra base hit in this game.
That ball had the craziest action I've seen from directly behind home plate. It looked like it started directly over Ogilvy's head, and he stopped there, and that ball just took off. I've never seen a ball hit that high that could knuckle, but it completely fooled Ben Ogilvy with the rain coming down. So the Cardinals with extra base hit number 6. Benji looking up into the rain, can't catch up once he misjudged it slightly. He was playing Orge down toward the left field line because he slaps the ball in that direction.
Quite a night for Dane Orge, a pair of doubles and a triple.
Look out.
McGee all the way to the backstop, and on to third goes Orge. Wild pitch by Medich.
It's not even close. It just goes all the way past Simmons, almost gets McGee, and easily to third base goes Orge.
So now the infield for the Brewers has to pull in. McGee's been safe on an error and grounded to short, so he's hit it twice at Robin Young. Change through the right side, and the Cardinals have another run. Willie McGee's 5th RBI of the World Series. And the rookie at first base with no one out, and Tom Herr the batter. 8-0 St. Louis.
Dick, a routine ground ball with the infield back. Infield in, you can see on this wet turf where it's even a little bit faster. See now with an 8-run lead if Whitey Herzog's going to back off or continue to press this Brewer team.
Tommy Herr, an RBI double and a successful suicide squeeze, so he has a couple of RBIs tonight. So despite the fact that Herr is 2 for 20 in the series, Whitey Herzog has seen a second baseman knock in 5 runs. 2 of those on a sacrifice fly.
It might be said there's no way he would run here with an 8-0 lead, but I think Whitey Herzog figures with a few more innings of at-bats for the Brewers. He's going. No.
Outside, 1-1.
He was leaning.
6 extra base hits for the Cardinals. 3 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. There he goes. Popped up into shallow left.
Another slow jump.
Ogilvie can't get there.
He is having trouble seeing the ball because he stayed stationary in that little looper and couldn't get it. Another thing that helped the Cardinals and got the base hit for her was Robin Yount on the steal attempt was coming over to cover second. And when the ball looped, Ogilvie, who plays a little deeper with Robin Yount, as you would with Ozzie Smith, because they go back so well, and then he couldn't recover. Robin couldn't make it and change directions.
He did a good job. Ogilvie, that ball, he actually fielded it with his bare hand. Smothering it against his body. That kangaroo's right on out to the left field wall.
Now he'll force him at the corners, and 8-0. Will Whitey try and pad his lead even more with a sacrifice attempt? Molitor and Cooper are looking for it. That shows a lot of respect. Stealing like he did with McGee, and if he does bunt, to the offense that Whitey respects of this Brewer team, even though you're up by 8.
So McGee at second, Purr at first, no one out, a run already home. Here in the 6th, it's 8-0 Cardinals. Ozzie Smith takes a strike. He has grounded out twice tonight. Rain continues to fall.
Cardinal fans don't mind it a bit. I see very few seats that are empty where people have moved out of the rain.
Long night on that Brewer bench.
Look out.
Behind Ozzie Smith, and the runners move up on the second wild pitch of the inning for Medich.
Well, we were talking a moment ago about Doc Medich being a control pitcher, and he has thrown 2 pitches that are unbelievable. This one even more so than the one that almost hit McGee.
Simmons obviously had no chance. When you set up outside, they throw behind the hitter. All you can do is signal for a fair catch.
1 ball, 1 strike. The infield is in again. Two and 1. Medich, who has not had any work in the series, and then comes into these situations, this kind of condition. Cooper gets the play himself, and the runners hold. Smith hit it hard.
At this point, this game is starting to look like game number 1 here when the Brewers do a 10-0 shutout behind Caldwell at the Cardinals.
Now, gentlemen, it's been a series that really has not had that kind of memorable play that 10, 20 years from now you'll say, oh, you remember the '82 series. But the way this game is developing and forcing a Game 7, you get the feeling that something very dramatic in that deciding game tomorrow. Who will it be that gets that big blow or makes the big defensive play? Vukovic for Milwaukee. Andujar, the scheduled pitcher for St. Louis. This is David Green. His first at bat. Lonnie Smith went 1 for 3. Two wild pitches in an inning ties a record. Actually, a game record. Medich just did it a little sooner than others. Stuper had a couple of wild pitches, as you'll recall, back in Game 2. But those were under dry conditions. 1 ball, 1 strike to Green. Medich in a Missouri rain. The weather is bad, and in the language of the players, so are the Cardinal bats. They've been bad indeed, the way they've rattled 10 hits around Busch Stadium and 8 runs. Medich having a lot of trouble getting his breaking ball in the strike zone.
It is really coming down now. We're looking at another delay.
Yeah,
They're really complaining.
Lee Wire, the first base umpire, looking over, and he's going to call it off one more time. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn.
So another break in the action in the 6th inning with runners at 2nd and 3rd. A run already home, 1 out. 8-0 St. Louis. Rain, it just sheets of rain blowing in over that right field roof. Let's go down to Bob Costas.
Should we share yours or mine?
Well, apparently we're having some audio difficulties. That rain and all, you can imagine that it might be fouling up some lines.
And the tarp will get a little bit more difficult each time to get out. They have the mechanical tarpaulin, as you see, that pops out of the ground. They guide it out with a little machine off rollers. It gets a little heavier, a little more wet. Robin Yount, who had an error back in early innings, allowing 2 unearned runs. First man in World Series history to have 2 4-hit baseball games. Remember this ball game with 5 consecutive hits, and that was stopped by Stuper.
That's a serious downfall.
I'm sure they'll wait a long time, but with 8 runs on the scoreboard, it'll kind of change the philosophy here. Almost the thinking if this were a prize fight, they'd throw in the towel and say, hey, let's go at it again.
It will make the ultimate decision much easier. Now let's try Bob Costas again down on the first base dugout.
All right, thank you, Dick Enberg. I'm not exactly sure what camera we're on, but what you have to say is more important than what you look like soaked with rain, Commissioner. And the question they're speculating about up in the booth is the one I asked you about before. Does 8-0 make it different than 1-0?
No, you're going to play this game until we get it completed. If we have to sit here for a great many more hours, Bob. The forecast, while it looks pretty horrible now, is for this shower to last perhaps a half an hour, and then we can get showers on and off until perhaps 11 o'clock. Good heavy ones sometimes like this. Behind that, we have good satisfactory weather, so we'll wait and we'll play. And this field, of course, cleans up very well. It's an artificial turf, and they have the Zamboni machines, and they'll take the water off it if they have to. So we can play, and we'll play this.
Again, we ask the question, what if we're not so fortunate and it's just like this, and this is torrential, for 3-4 hours? You're prepared to wait, right?
Well, we're prepared to wait, but that's not what we're looking at here.
That's Commissioner Bowie Kuhn. Let's go back upstairs where it's nice and dry.
Thank you, Bob. We'll have to mop you up.
Bob, our thanks to you, because he's standing by, and that's the man that makes the decision. We understand that it is raining in Milwaukee, too. And, of course, they're inside watching there, hoping that their club can come back. With the rain coming down in the Midwest, there is Milwaukee. I can't recognize the street. That would be Wisconsin Avenue if I had to guess, and that's what it is. And it is wet in Wisconsin. It is wet in St. Louis. It's 8-0 here, the Cardinals. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Sitting on the 8th lead, but they want this young man to be able to pitch if he can. They don't want to go into that bullpen and have to use Cott. They don't want to have to use Bear. They certainly don't want to have to use Bruce Sutter. I think if they have to take John Stuper out of the ball game, they would probably go with Jeff Lottie. After that, maybe Doug Bear, and even pitching 1 inning for Doug Bear might do him some good. Whether John Stuper be able to go the 3 innings to get all 9 outs, which they need, of course, to wrap it up. He's working on the 2-hitter. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, 2 hours in that clubhouse, a long time for a young man to go in and sit and then come out and ask him to pitch. But of course, it's World Series time.
Dramatic change in the temperature. The game started at 71 degrees. The last reading we received was 48 degrees. So it's dropped 23, and it will get colder.
Stuper he's really been just brilliant. We haven't really concentrated on him that much because we've been talking and replaying the Cardinals offense with 6 extra base hits tonight. But the 2 base hits you talked about, Tom, were not hit very hard. One by Moore, one by Ogilvie. The only ball that's been hit hard off him really was the line drive by Charlie Moore to Ozzie Smith. So he has pitched very well today, very loose. Some of the defensive plays, this came early off the fist, right back to Stuper off the bat of Robin Yount. 2nd inning after Simmons walked, Ogilvie looped on money, a double play, 5-4-3. Oberkfell hurt to Hernandez. 3rd inning, Moore led off with a single, a looper to center field. Strikeout of Gantner, Molitor, 4-6-3 double play. After that point, with that, Stuper retired 11 Brewers consecutively.
They've left only one man on base and have only 2 singles. Well, this past year, Ferdy Pacheco, the NBC fight doctor, has been responsible for some outstanding boxing programs. Ferdy is multi-talented. He has written books and screenplays, and he's capable of doing his own illustrating. As he has watched this World Series, he authored some cartoon impressions.
Just a reminder, Ferdy, in baseball, there's no mandatory 8 count. You have to go the full 9 innings.
And I've gone the full 9 innings every night and enjoyed every minute of it, and I've created some impressions from each game.
All right, a play, a player, and a manager. First, the play. This is the play in this series. Keith Hernandez making that great...
My view of that was I thought the first baseman was thinking to himself, boy, the pitcher's got to step on first. The pitcher's saying, I got to remember to step on first. The runner's saying, that pitcher's got to step on first for me to be out. And all the time, the key to that play was the ball. And the ball, as it bounced niftily off the ground, had a thought of its own. And that thought was, but he's got to catch me first.
Yeah, that ball can make everyone crazy that plays this game, the way it eludes the bat and the glove and the grass sometimes. So that's the play. How about the player?
Well, the ball couldn't get away from the most sensational catch I've seen in a long time, and that was McGee's leaping, brilliant catch at least 10 feet off the air. And while he made that catch, I was riveted to his feet. I thought he had springs on his feet when he jumped up. And then I looked up to the side, and I saw it on a replay. 2 guys were looking in amazement and was saying something, and I pictured them saying, one of these days, this guy's going to spring right out of the stadium.
Right. And along with making your notes, cartoon notes during the course of the series, you've been very busy, a lot of energy on a big primetime evening, Saturday evening, November 20th, boxing on NBC.
Can't wait for that because we just signed a 3rd fight, which was Tony Ayala against Carlos Herrera, both #1 contenders, 1 and 2 contenders for Davey Moore's crown. And of course, the star of the show, Dwight Braxton, in a light heavyweight championship fight with Davis. And after that, the tastiest one for me, our 2 favorites, Bobby Chez against Mustafa Hamsho, NBC favorites for over the last 3 years, meet each other finally.
Sounds like a great triple header. That'll be a prime time Saturday night, November 20th. Now, your final impression, the manager.
The manager is Harvey Keene, no question about it, the personality, and for one reason, he's been the star of the NBC show.
I think you could just hold off for an inning, Harvey. Well, we've seen his expectorations throughout this World Series.
Well, it has been a chewing team in that dugout for the Brewers. Well, back to the action. David Green, 2 balls, 2 strikes the count when the rains came. The infield is in. Same defensive alignment. Harvey Keene did not pull any of the regulars out. He's going with that starting lineup. We would say a third of the crowd still with us at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Runners at second and third. And that's ball 3, 3-2. Willie McGee's at third. Tom Herr at second. Doc Medich in relief of Don Sutton and Jim Slayton. See the infield in. 3-2. Ball 4. The bases are loaded.
And Dick, while he was walking, Hump Kittle came down with Stuper from the bullpen, both with their jackets on. Stuper may try it, but Jim Cott continues to throw.
It may be that Stuper, in trying to warm up, just could not get loose again. So the veteran Cott, the left-hander, is throwing. So bases full. There's Cott, the 43-year-old. Oberkfell is 0 for 3. He and Ozzie Smith are the only Cardinals without a base hit tonight. 8-0 the score. Medich. Cooper, a great play, comes to the plate for the 4th. Oh, Cooper just seems to have that glove in the way of the Cardinals' bid for base hits all series long.
Playing in, as Dick told you, they were back in the middle of the diamond, but with Cooper playing in, he goes way in the air, sets himself, makes the throw. Simmons holds the ball, no chance of a double play as he watches the other runners.
Now the crowd that has stayed at Busch Stadium has lost none of its enthusiasm. Keith Hernandez, who hit a 2-run homer in the last inning, the 5th inning, but that was more than 2¼ hours ago. Bases loaded, 2 out. Hernandez with a Cardinal perched at every corner. Burr at third, Green at second, Oberkfell at first. Change, and it's 2-0. bases loaded. In an excellent position to look for a good pitch to hit.
Last time up, the 2-run home run off Sutton hit a good pitcher. Breaking ball down low, almost beneath his knees.
Line into right field. Kerr scores. Green scores. It's 10-0 St. Louis. Big night for Keith Hernandez. 4 RBIs on a 2-run homer and a 2-run single. And here's George Hendrick. He's 1 for 3.
And Dick, till this point in the series, is adding up the run totals. The Cardinals have scored 30 in this series. Milwaukee 29. The hits 55 to 49. I think unusual. The Cardinals with 21 extra base hits. Milwaukee with just 16.
And apparently it's going to come down to the 7th game tomorrow night. Joaquin Andujar for St. Louis pitched brilliantly until injured on the drive off Simmons' bat that hit him in the right knee. Pete Vukovich, 18-6, the man with the best winning percentage of any pitcher in baseball the last 2 years, will go for Milwaukee. 2 out. Another base hit and another run.
Whoa, look out.
And on the high throw, Hendrick moves to second. 11-0.
Hendrick gets called back in the strike zone, hits it to right field. Look at the water squishing off the ball, and when Charlie Moore lets it go, it takes off almost over the head of Molitor, which allows Hendrick an old-fashioned shellacking like the Cardinals got in game number 1. Boy, that hitting is contagious, Joe, because game 5, the Cardinals swung the bat so well, they're carrying it on tonight.
Confidence breeds confidence.
15 hits for St. Louis in defeat Sunday in game 5. They now have an even dozen and lead 11-0. They batted around here in the 6th inning off Medic. Porter, the 9th man to hit, has a 2-run homer, 1 for 3 tonight. Defensively, it's the battery of Medic and Simmons. Molitor at third. The shortstop is Yount. Gantner and Cooper on the right side of the infield. Ogilvy in left, Thomas in center, Moore in right.
Dick, an umbrella is just blown out of the stands. And there you see it in right center field. They're going out to get it, so time has been called here.
The biggest shutout win in World Series history involved Tony Kubek on the winning side in 1960.
Whitey Ford pitched that ball game against the Pirates. And that was in the midst of Whitey's streak, shutout innings in World Series play. He was breaking Babe Ruth's record.
That was back in 1960 when the Yankees beat the Pirates 12-0, but we all know that the Pirates went on in Game 7 on Mazeroski's dramatic homer to win the series.
In fact, Whitey Ford shut that Pirate team one other time out. He got just 2 starts. He pitched 2 shutouts.
Now the Cardinals trying to administer the biggest shutout defeat ever. Porter hits it hard, and it gets through Gantner. 2 runs will score. It's 13-0.
You're looking at a field right now that is about like an ice skating rink. It is just sopping wet, and that ball just kept picking up speed and just eats Jimmy Gantner up. Wow, he tried to get down, got down too late. And Jim Gantner a while ago talked about wanting to not continue this ball game. And air is charged to Gantner. I really think if this game can serve any purpose for the Brewers, it's about what Tom Seaver said. Maybe they can get into the Cardinals bullpen, which might affect the Cardinals tomorrow.
So those 2 runs will be unearned, and any subsequent runs scored by St. Ous in this elongated started 6th inning will be unearned. Well, this is just taking your punishment. And there's no TKO apparently in World Series play. There was plenty of opportunity for the decision to be made not to resume play. But here as we approach midnight Central Time, the Cardinals keep swinging. Forge, what a day he's had. But Ogilvie makes the catch. Forge, who had a double, triple, and double, lines out to left, and the crowd cheers the Cardinals 6-run sixth. To the top of the 7th team, 13-0.
Who'll last longer, Rick or Dry Idea Roll-On? Give ordinary roll-ons this kind of workout. They'll start to give out on you. They're mostly water, but not Dry Idea. Watch. The ordinary roll-on here.
Pitch, there were 53,723 or thereabouts. We would say, what, 20,000 left. And those that stayed after weathering that rain delay, second rain delay of 2 hours and 13 minutes, they said, as long as we're going to be here past midnight, we're going to cheer. That's a great crowd reaction.
Also, in the last 2 ball games to this point, the Cardinals have had 27 base hits. Ironically, they've left on just 2 tonight. There's the last ball game in Milwaukee. They left on, what, 12? So they've shown they can put hits and runs together on the board.
Well, it's a football-type crowd, and they have a football score on the board, 13-0. Robin Yount in the top of the 7th. Yount, a soft liner to the mound, and a fly ball to right. Stuper, consider that he threw his first pitch about 7:35. Now it's 10 before midnight St. Louis time. So it's been a long evening for this youngster from Butler, Pennsylvania. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fouled away. Yount 1 hit away from tying the World Series record for hits in 6 games, held by Billy Martin, the Yankee second baseman, who had 12 hits in the 1953 World Series, 6 games. The all-time record is 13 hits, shared by Richardson of the Yankees, Brock of the Cardinals. That was in a 7-game series. That could be the 6-game record. Ozzie Smith denies him. Ozzie Smith charging that high hopper.
That's one thing, he gets such a quick jump. Fields it 2 hands because he knew he would not on this particular play have a chance to field it in the glove hand, transfer the ball. Robin Yount runs well. That's one thing that Whitey Herzog says he does as well as anybody he's ever seen at shortstop. Be able to play as deeply as he does, and rarely do you beat a ball on him. Charging so quickly.
Cecil Cooper, a long out to left and a pop fly to short, so he's hit the ball to the opposite field of Stuper.
Stuper's now retired 12 in a row.
Ozzie Smith, you don't want to hit it at him. 2 away.
Ozzie Smith is like one of those Zamboni machines, just picks up everything in his area, post shortstop, but he has put on quite an exhibition. Tony, I think the stuff he gets on the throws, like that one he made off Yount, that to me is amazing.
He doesn't have a great throwing. I'm talking to Whitey Herzog and Chuck Hiller. It isn't great like a Burleson or but he is so quick.
Ted Simmons, and Stuper will try to play that one himself, and does. John Stuper, 25-year-old rookie, has retired 14 in a row. Stretch half of the 7th. Cardinals have done everything but kick the extra point. 6 outs away from forcing the decisive 7th game tomorrow evening. It would be Pete Vukovich, Milwaukee right-hander, 18-6, against the National League champions right-hander Joaquin Andujar, 5-0 in September, the best right-handed record in baseball. And of course, the one question mark, how will that right knee behave? Dick Enberg, Joe Garagiola, Tony Kubek, Tom Seaver. We have a new catcher, Ned Yost. Bottom of the 7th, 13-0. Joe?
Okay, Dick. Yost is the new catcher, and here's McGee. And it's ball 1. I'll tell you, when you take a lacing like this, that next day you come out just a little bit more charged. So it looks like the 7th game, which really doesn't need any spice, will have it.
Outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Major League Baseball, an amazing statistic, 20 of the last 38 World Series have gone 7 games. Out of play, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Willie McGee, he was safe on an error and scored in the 2nd. He bounced out in the 4th. He singled to drive in a run and scored in the 6th. Whitey Herzog with a big 13-0 lead. Milwaukee bullpen is busy. Don Sutton started. Slayton came on. Now it's Medich. Left field, Ogilvy near the line, running hard, and he makes the play. If you're keeping score, they rule it a fair ball, and there's 1 away.
And Joe, the American League presently, 3-year losing streak in the World Series. The Dodgers beat the Yankees in 6 games last year. Philadelphia beat Kansas City 6-80. Pittsburgh beat the Baltimore Orioles 4 games to 3 in 1979. Dwight Bernard starts the throwing for Harvey Keene.
Dwight Bernard loosening up for Milwaukee. Vukovic against Andujar tomorrow night. Ball 1. Well, like always, it'll be some kind of a press conference after the game. 1 ball and 1 strike to count.
Really are not. There's Ozzie Smith on deck. Many questions that can be asked. Cardinals have just whacked the tar to the ball.
High fly ball, short left field. Yount going out. Ogilvy coming in. Ogilvy makes the play. But 5 hours on and off as far as the broadcast is concerned. Here's Ozzie Smith. How many times do you think Harvey will be asked, do you think that the rain delay hurt your ball club? And Harvey will handle it perfectly. Left center field, Ogilvy. Looks like he'll take care of the entire inning. 1-2-3 for the Cardinals in the bottom half of the 7th as all 3, McGee, Hearn, Ozzie Smith, fly to Ogilvy at the end of 7 full innings here. A real rout. And there is Harvey Keene looking on. It's 13-0. St. Louis leading Milwaukee, end of 7. Top of the 8th inning. Ogilvy leads it off, and fans get a little excited. A watch. That'll go to the fan who was the last one to leave the park.
Some fan threw it out there and simply said it's time to go home.
Oh. That will go down in World Series history with the mayor of St. Louis, who calls it the World Beeries. Stuper has thrown only 74 pitches. He's out there again. This game started at 7:20. We had one 26-minute delay. We had another one of 2 hours and 13 minutes, and Stuper has been in and out, warming up, and there he is again. It's outside, ball 1.
Retired 14 in a row, as we told you, the last 4 in ground balls. So maybe the rain delay has taken a little bit of the edge off, and the ball is sinking more.
He's had 2 double plays, hit well to center field. McGee going back. He's there.
He just outruns baseballs, that guy. Ball is slicing away, and when you look up, he's on the move. And sometimes you don't think he's going to get there, like in the Freddie Pacheco spot, that great catch he made to left center field. Didn't look like he's going to get there, and he does. He's gliding, and yet he's covering up an awful lot of ground.
Here's Gorman Thomas. The last base runner was Moore in the 3rd inning. He was rubbed out in a double play on a ground ball hit by Molitor. He's 1 over the limit as far as the way he's working this game. John Stuper. Right at the 3rd baseman, Oberkfell. He's got it. Bad throw. Nice play. Safe. Nice play by Hernandez as he backhanded the ball, but it pulled him off the bag, and Gorman Thomas is on.
That ball's getting awfully slippery, and Obi makes a nice play on the ball. It's fairly hard. You can see how he almost went down to one knee. The ball's wet. It squishes out of his hand. I'll tell you, that was a tough call for Lee Wire, the first base umpire. Mild argument from Hernandez. Marshall Edwards now. Here we'll look at it again. To this score, Hernandez didn't argue that much. You can see Hansen, the first base coach, saying keep close. Now a pinch runner, Joe.
Don Money is the batter. Marshall Edwards is the pinch runner. 1 strike is the count. Hernandez with that big lead, of course, he's playing behind the runner way over. They play money to pull and swung around. Strike 2. And there you see Hernandez, and he'll go even a couple more steps to his right as Stuper delivers. Porter sliding, gliding, falling.
Edwards, the kid pitch running now, is the man who made that sensational catch in right center field on Don Baylor in the California Angels series.
Here's that play again, and Porter blocks it, and I tell you, in a play like that, you forget about the score as Money fouls went off. Just knew he had to block the ball, and he did exactly that. 13-0. 8th inning. 1 man on, 1 man out.
Well, the one thing the big score does give both managers is a chance to get some of the people into a World Series that might not otherwise have their name in the box score, and Edwards is one of them.
Again, Porter blocks it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I'll tell you one thing, it's not the kind of a game where you go to bed and you stay up half the night wondering why I made this move, why didn't I do this. Turning point came early. 2-2 pitch. Short left, well, deep shortstop, call it that, because the left fielder Green never even broke in, Tony. That's the kind of respect he's got for Ozzie Smith.
Well, when you say short left, you're pretty correct. Short left is deep short. For Ozzie Smith, it's medium left field. Ground he covers. Bowie and Mrs. Kuhn in the box.
The commissioner, who said we would be here a long time, certainly believing the weatherman, made the right call. We're finishing the game, and he's giving Milwaukee every out that they have coming to him. 2 outs. It's high, ball 1 to Charlie Moore.
One thing, the Cardinals today, in fact this whole series, have gotten the best of that DH spot, especially tonight. Orge, a double, a triple, double, 3 runs scored, a line out.
Popped in the infield. Oberkfell says I'll take it. He does. And the top of the 8th is over. 1 base runner, 1 error, no hit. We go to the no hits. We go into the bottom of the 8th to score 13-0. St. Louis over Milwaukee.
Next Saturday, and
Green takes the first pitch for a strike. Edwards is the new center fielder, replacing Gorman Thomas. He went in as a pinch runner, and we have a new pitcher, Dwight Bernard. Last ball misses. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Bernard during the regular season, 3 wins, 1 loss. He had 6 saves, so he did make a contribution during the part of the season. Sinker ball, slider.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out. Bottom of the 8th. Line foul out of play down the right side. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count.
And the word from our statistician Steve Dan, the Cardinals DHs during this series hitting .409. The Brewers, who should be used to it, hitting just .136. That was not the strongest part of the Brewers' attack this year, the DH.
Once again, line foul.
In fact, during the course of this series, Harvey Keene against right-handed pitchers had been playing Howell, Whitey Herzog, and Harvey Keene. We'll see game number 7 tomorrow.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Lou Adamy, the wizard of the scoreboard. I think this is his 8th World Series. He is really quick with those balls and strikes. There's his strike call. Bernard gets Green on strikes.
Number 10.
As we look ahead to the 9th, Gantner, Molitor, and Yount will bat for Milwaukee. Just be aware of the fact that there have been 15 World Series 2 hitters. The last 2 hitter was by Nelson Briles in 1971. And Stuper, he has really been something. His last base hit was in the 3rd inning. Ground ball to Yount. Really scooted off that AstroTurf or artificial surface, and he's safe as he pulls Cooper off the bag. And I think
think that ball being wet, Tony, really was a factor there. That ball, it scooped off the artificial surface.
A lot of moisture has sunk in. Same thing happened to Oberkfell. Probably acts almost like a spinner when you throw it over. You try and grab it by the seams, but I'm sure it's gotten a lot soggier every time it hits the turf.
Pride and joy of Imlay City. Lee Wire there right on the spot to make the call. The umpiring throughout this series, we haven't had a chance to comment on it. It's just been superb.
Jim Evans, by the way, on that controversial play gave quite an explanation of that steal of home and why he called Lonnie Smith out. Hernandez fouls it back.
St. Louis Cardinals, just a handful who have not seen action in this World Series. Pitchers Martin and Mura, Gonzalez an infielder, and Brummer the catcher have not seen action.
Well hit to right field. Charlie Moore is going back near the wall. He makes the catch at the warning track. So Hernandez hit the ball hard.
We got a chance to see the big part of the ballpark. Some of the home runs that have been hit. Hernandez, Simmons, first two games here were more down the line. This one is a little bit more towards center field, and that's the spot where the ball just died. He hit that ball a ton.
Well, that would have been 6 RBIs if that one cleared the wall.
Was he swinging the bat last game in this one?
Here is George Hendrick. Hendrick doesn't get a strike one. Getting back to that Jim Evans call, the key line, Evans says he brought the pitch down, meaning Simmons, and in my judgment tagged Smith when his hand was over the plate, but before he got it down on the ground. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's really a play, a tough play that becomes so incidental the way the Cardinals have thrown the. This has been an excellently umpired World Series. In fact, I saw the American League Championship Series in Milwaukee, and Don Dinkinger and the crew he is with were just exceptional.
Robin Yount and Gantner, a beautiful play, and Yount really put on an exhibition with that one as he roamed 4 to his left, backhanded it, and they got the force and it ends the inning. So as we look at that play and watch Yount get way over the other side of the bag, flip it back, and that ends the inning. At the end of 8 full innings, Cardinals 13, Milwaukee nothing. Nothing. The score here. The Cardinals are out in front. We are in the top of the 9th inning. Down the left field line, it is a fair ball. A fair ball. Looks like extra bases for Jim Gantner. And on the first pitch, Gantner doubles down the left field line. And while we got a chance here, Tony, tonight's NBC Miller High Life Outstanding Player of the Game is John Stuper. No other reason coming back as many times as he did. And Miller High Life is happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Stuper to the Special Olympics.
It's had a pretty good streak growing. Remember, this Brewer team over a couple of years was shut out just once in 219 consecutive games during the regular season.
Foul ball drifting into the stands and a strike 1. Paul Molitor is the batter.
Joe, we want to acknowledge those Milwaukee Brewers who have not seen action thus far in this World Series, as we have already done for the St. Louis Cardinals. Get a break here. We'll run down the names of the Milwaukee players who have not seen duty.
The new catcher is Brummer. Molitor doesn't get him to strike 2. Glenn Brummer, there you see him.
Tell you somebody else in the Brewer organization missing this trip anyway. A man who'd been with him the entire year, Mark Padgett, the director of special events. He was hit by a car and fortunately did not get seriously injured.
Center field, they're going to hold Gantner up at third as the throw comes in to Ozzie Smith. So it's 1st and 3rd for the Milwaukee Brewers, and Robin Yount is the batter.
Number 19, shortstop Robin Yount.
There they are. Raleigh Fingers, who apparently, well, we might see him yet in the 7th game. Rob Picholo, Ed Romero, infielders and outfielder Mark Brohard. Brohard, young man who subbed for the injured Ogilvie in the American League Playoff Series and came through.
Set a record, 4 runs scored in the League Championship Series.
It gets by Brummer, and there goes the shutout as Gantner comes in to score.
And Molitor heads down to second base. So it's 13-1.
Sounds like a Canadian Football League score.
Trying to overthrow to preserve his shutout. What a ball game this kid has pitched, though. Bremer tries to slap it down. It got by, and the run scored.
Ball one, the count on Robin Yount. Two balls, no strikes. High hopper, Oberkfell at third. The throw. It is in time. On at second base, Molitor.
Number 15, first baseman Cecil Cooper.
The Cardinal bullpen starts to get busy. Lottie and Martin. Martin, the left-hander. One man out. Cecil Cooper is the batter. We're in the top of the ninth. And tomorrow night it'll be Vukovic and Andujar, is what we are told.
Pitching matchup starting to come around again. Sutton Stuper today. They matched up earlier in the series. Same as Andujar and Vukovic did.
High fly ball, right center field. McGee says, I'll take it. Molitor holds at second. There are 2 outs. Strike one. This crowd, from the very beginning, of course, hometown crowd looking for the big victory. They want the 7th game, and there will be a 7th game as the Cardinals lead 13-1. And they'll tell us exactly what's happening with each pitch. Listen. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ned Yost is the batter. Yost came on, replacing Simmons. And 1 strike, 2 outs. John Stuper. What a job he has done, the young rookie. Rain delays of 26 minutes, 2 hours and 13 minutes when he came back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now they'll really react to this pitch. Number 24. And 2 men out. Exactly 5 hours ago this game started. 12:20 here in St. Louis. Base runners at first and second, 2 outs, top of the ninth. One strike to count. One and one. 2 outs.
He's still popping the fastball pretty good.
This could be it. Listen to the roar. We'll be right back. Additions from 1982. Caldwell's cool from game 1. Suter's sinker to save game 2. Andujar's agony. St. Louis won game 3. LaPointe's costly bobble in game 4. In game 5, Robin Yount's second 4-hit game. And last night for the Cardinals, the rookie Super was super. And we're just moments away from that first pitch. We'll be joining Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek with a play-by-play. But first from Busch Stadium, St. Louis.